All right, we are back. Another episode of battling the rust on the Fiat 124. Last week you saw me finish off this lower windshield frame here. Came up pretty good, I reckon. That looks a lot better than the rusty mess that was there before. So, moving around the window. Next step, I think, for today is to start tackling this A-frame here. People that have watched the episode, that was my first repair there. First rust repair ever on any car. Needless to say, it was pretty horrendous. Never really been happy with that. That repair compared to that repair, polar opposite. I always knew that I was going to come back and probably fix this. And I think today is that day. So what I plan on doing is there's about 3 different layers or 3 different parts to these A-frames. You got this outer part which comes down there, you got the lip, then it comes around, then it tucks and finishes just along the edge of this little lip here. It sort of stops there, and there's all these spot welds that go all the way down there. So that's one piece. The other piece is this lip here that then backs up and comes in and then folds into there. So it comes around and then in. And then you've got this section here which comes down as well and then folds into there. And I'm pretty sure we'll probably find out by the end of this episode how this all works. That flicks up, and that's that right in there. Can you get the light on there? You can see it there. I think this panel here and this panel here are these 2 panels in here that sort of come up with each other. So today, I think the plan is I'm going to undo all the spot welds down here, then cut probably just across there, because I don't think any of this is going to be rusty, because there's no reason why water should have gotten inside this part, because there's nowhere it can get in there. The reason why this is all rusty, I have a feeling, is because when there was the big gaping hole there, water was coming down this channel, into that hole, down inside here, rusting out everything in its journey down. So I think we're going to need to cut it there. We'll see how rusty this is. It might all be rusty on the inside. I might just have to remake a whole outer A-pillar anyway. But let's get cracking on pulling this off, and then we can see what we're dealing with. Alrighty, I think we can all agree that that was probably a good idea, ripping that panel off. As you saw, it was putting up a bit of a fight. It's really, this side's easy to bust off there. This was tricky down this section because it's just so hard to pry the 2 apart. That section and this little section down here, because from factory they just bash this, I think it's brass soldering, whatever you want to call it. They bash that all around these areas here, and the only way you can really get that out is if you either, like you saw with the little saw, I tried to saw as much as I could, and then you just have to grind it back. By the looks of it, everything, like you suspected, up here, everything looks okay. This wasn't really too much rust when I cleaned it up, but it gets worse as it comes down, because obviously it was coming down here and starting to pull here until it started rusting through here. And so now all I got to do is clean this up, clean all this up and then see what we have left. Alrighty, there we have it, all cleaned up. I banged it with some of the rust killing gel, rust converting gel, whatever you want to call it. I already cleaned this section here up from the last sort of repair, so I just went over that again. Strangely, where that foam sat is the cleanest part of this whole section. I don't know how that works, so I just assumed water would come and sit behind that foam and then rust this out. But where that foam was is right here, and that is really nice. So it's still a mystery to me of what that foam is and why it's there, but it seems to stop rust. Who knows? So coming down here, you can see through here, through all there, that sort of rust converter's done the best it can through there. Through here, it's never gonna be able to sort of kill everything off, but it's all converted now. So this here is really just on the surface. Obviously, you got that hole there. So I think what I'm gonna have to do here is cut through there, rebuild this lower section of this one. There's also a hole there, which is part of this inner section. So I'm gonna have to chop this, pull this out, and then cut a hole through there, and then weld that little section on, and then weld this new fabricated section onto there. And then up here, I'm going to have to cut across there and probably across here and up there, and then rebuild this section as well. All this is good through the guts here. So yeah, it's just going to be that section up there and this section down here. And of course the outer panel that comes across the top, which I think I'm going to have to refabricate that whole outer section from scratch, because the one that I pulled off there, as you saw, was pretty crap. So I'll take some measurements of all this, and I think we'll start building this up. Alrighty, so you've seen me start making up two of the three panels. The first one being this sort of L-shaped section here, which ties into this, comes all the way down to this little corner here, and that's got a really slight bend from sort of up here all the way down. It curves slightly. So you would have seen me put that curve in with the stretcher. I stretched this outside edge to give it that curve. And then the next panel is this inside panel that comes down here, which you can see there is just this slight curve here, which you can see on this panel here. It's only really slight. That panel there sits sort of just in there. And then the third panel is this little strip that comes down here that then gets spot welded onto this outer panel through here. So to get this to sit right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and tack weld it in 3 spots once it's all lined up, and then flip it over, and then from the back I'm going to run a few seams of weld down the back side of it, so that then this whole edge here is got a bit of beef to it, so then I can come through and file and round this edge here out to be more like that nice edge there and make it look good. So that is the task now, is to tack that in and do a couple of seam welds and see where we're at. So I've gone ahead and made this whole section now, and through this joint down here I've put some what would you call it? I don't know. Rust protecting primer. It's pretty beefy stuff. Off camera, you probably didn't see me. I made a whole new section down here. So that whole bit there was rusted out. So I fabricated that section there. And this part up here, which was the original fix I did many videos ago, and it was cactus all through there. So I cut this whole section out as well and refabricated that and got that in. So now all I got to do is bang a bit of weld through primer up here and then get that guy welded in, and finally I'm finished with this A-pillar. Alrighty, there we have it. A-pillar done. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. You can see there, it ties in up the top here, it ties in down the bottom. It hasn't got a huge bow in it like the previous one had. This little step here is constant the whole way up. It's good, I like it. The only part that I'm probably a bit iffy about was this little lip down here. It's just really hard to get the welder in there and make that weld that nice, should I say. But other than that, it's a lot better than it was. So here's the comparison here. That's what it used to look like, that massive hole there. There you go. Way better. So not only that, but over on the other side, off screen, I also fixed this little corner here. This was the only bit of rust was a hole here, which looked like that. Well, a hole there and a hole here. So that's fixed now. Again, like that one over there, I had to rebuild the this bottom bit here as well that sort of sits inside there. But now that's done, that other pillar's done. Stoked. Can now move on to, I reckon, next task will probably be finally finishing off that back boot area. And then tackling one of the many other rust spots on this car. But this was a particularly big task just because it doesn't look complex, but there is a lot of different curves that are going on when you're doing something like that. But all done now. So I think that's me done for the day. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.